I'm Chris.
And I'm Matt.
Welcome to Roleplay Chat.
We are two game masters who can't stop talking about role-playing games.
And today we continue talking about player engagement. Last week, we did the first 6 tips and tricks to create better player engagement.
Yeah, improve your roleplay and really get the most out of playing as a player at your table. So today we're going to continue that conversation. Before we do that, we had a PSA last time. I think we should have a PSA this time. Chris, you did such a good job describing it last time. I'll let you do it again.
Is it wrong if I say that I don't know what the PSA is?
It's like a public service announcement. The thing about boundaries.
Okay,
yeah.
okay, sorry. I'm French. Yeah, so in terms of boundaries, we just said that you need to make sure you have a discussion with your fellow players to make sure that everybody's on the same page about the amount of role play and also the subject that are allowed at the table or even encouraged at the table.
Yeah, you don't want to make anybody feel uncomfortable. You don't want anybody to be upset. So have that conversation as a group. What is expected? What are people, maybe things that make them feel uncomfortable? And then you can kind of take it from there. So with that little footnote with regards to boundaries, let's dive deep into, or not dive deep, skim the surface of the next 6 tips.
Yes. So the next 3 will be under the category of something called gift giving. So this is a term that we didn't coin. It comes from Twitter.
I can't remember who on Twitter, but I really liked it. Being gift giving encompasses when you talk to someone in your game, when you engage with someone at the game, it's not all about you.
Yeah. So the first tip is to make it not all about you, is to make sure you attack roleplay and the role-playing game in general as you being a fan of the other players.
Mm-hmm. This comes from the Dungeon World rulebook, if I'm not mistaken, and it basically says exactly that in the rules. When you're playing, be a fan of all the other characters at the table. That way, when you're interacting with them, you actually care, or you ought to care about a character's opinion about something, mm-hmm. or the way they feel about a certain situation. That way, when you engage with them, you can be gift-giving in that way and really, see their story develop and not necessarily only have your story kind of front center in your mind.
Yeah, and this is not like a practical tip. It's more about a state of mind and the way to approach a situation.
I know that's kind of deep, so if you guys wanted to kind of get a little bit more meat on that, I'll link up the long conversation up here where we talk a little bit more about that. But let's go right into the next tip, our strategy, I guess, for consideration. And it fits in with this. It's being a team player.
I know I should take it, but you wrote that and I don't know what it means.
Well, so here it's being a team player in the sense that it's not all about you. I guess it kind of fits into being a fan. Mm-hmm. But on top of being a fan, when you engage with someone, don't engage with them expecting something out of it.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you're
sure.
going
mm-hmm.
into it and you're passing the ball to them, giving an assist on a really cool moment. You're kind of setting the stage for them to shine.
Yeah, and it's about being okay with like helping this part of the story and being glad you assisted in it. I guess that's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, and
mm-hmm.
if I'm doing it for you and you're doing it for me, it's great. It's actually significantly easier to have someone else prop your character up than for you to kind of unnaturally try to force your character's opinion or stance on something.
And the worst that can happen, and when you're trying to build something like that, is 2 players talking to each other and both having their own agenda and trying to pull the cover on their side, and then you kind of have two monologues that are like, it doesn't work. It's better to engage the other player on what they actually want to talk about. And that touches well the next tip, that is to send signals and to make sure to keep your eyes open to catch other people's signals. So what do we mean in terms of signal?
Yeah, well, so here we're saying things like behavior at the table. Mm-hmm. For instance, if your player character is sulking or brooding about something, or maybe is acting different, you're mm-hmm. describing your character in combat, saying, he hesitantly looks towards the enemy and shoots a bow and shoots an arrow at them. You're sending signals to everybody else at the table. Say, look, something's not right here. Somebody come and help me discuss it.
Yeah, and I think I can see right away 3 levels in terms of the level of signals, and that depends on how your group is
How attentive they are.
Attentive they are, because there's the first level, which is you actually acting maybe like reserved and trying to to create this where someone should be like, oh, what's wrong with Matt? He's not talking. Well, that's really that could be hard to see, and that what might happen is you're just holding this acting and nobody engages with it. The next level is doing exactly what you did, saying you see Diedrich acting this way. So you narrate the way the other character perceives it, becomes real in the roleplay world. And I would say another level, even easier than that, is to actually go see the player out of the game and be like, I'm going to be like this today. I'm going to send signals. Like, make sure you catch them and we can do a scene together. It's going to be cool. So that's like the meta knowledge that creates the opportunity. So I would say start with saying it outside of the game, then narrate it, and then if everybody's really attentive, you can actually just act it out.
It's not like something that's easy to do.
No, it's not.
I mean, we've been playing for a long time with the same group of people, and we're still struggling with this to a certain extent. So I mean, give it a try, have the talk, and don't be embarrassed. Don't feel like you're breaking the game if you have to go see someone to say, hey, let's address something. I'm gonna bring something. I want you to talk to me about it. You know?
Yeah, it's like when you're acting, you could have a script, but the scene is actually fun to go through, and something that you didn't expect could be taken out of it. So try it out.
We've been talking a lot about that. What's the next one? Actually, that's everything about being gift giving. The next and last regrouping of strategies for you to consider is to really do things that you're like as a player you might do, but do them as a character in the game.
And I like this one because it's almost like something you always have to work on. You could do none of it, or you can really try to push this, and it's going to improve your engagement as we go. So for instance, the first thing that's, I think, an obvious example is planning. You could, when planning, just get out of character and talk player to player, but if you want to improve engagement, you could try to really focus on staying in character and planning as Diedrich is talking to Ludolf about what they should do. Obviously, if you talk in terms of AC and stuff like that, it might be problematic, but try to keep it in the game.
And I mean, there's plenty of opportunities. You know, whenever you're in a situation, you're approaching a door, approaching a bridge, approaching something where you haven't necessarily entered any kind of combat, you're still exploring, and you're trying to figure out your plan of attack. I know this has happened to me as a player a bunch of times. Put the skin of your character on. What would your character do? And, you know, vocalize that.
Through your character.
Through your character. If someone has an opinion to do something like the rogues, like, oh, we should just sneak in, and you're the big paladin with the heavy armor who's like, I'm not going to sneak in, I'm going to make a whole bunch of noise. Don't say that as a player. Why not say that as a character? Say, I don't think you want me to sneak with my big plate mail or something. I don't know. Like, it can create a fun conversation.
Yeah. So, let's go to the next one, which is to ask question. And again, as a player, sometimes you're going to ask questions. You're going to deal with NPC and you'll be like, oh, I wonder what he feels about it. What do you think? And then you start to get out of the game. Try to dig through character interaction. So to ask question as a character, I'm asking you, how is this NPC feeling about it? I'm saying, how do you, Wemmerwooten, feel about this thing? And try to engage it with your own character.
And then the last element, the last tip in our 12 tips total is when you're fighting, when you're doing an attack in combat, try to embody your character. You know, yes, you can roll and see if you hit or not, but it adds another level of engagement if you describe, you know, you take your broadsword, you hold it up to the light, you say, "For Bahamut!" and you swing, and then you roll to see if you hit. If you hit, wow, what a moment. If you miss, wow, what a miss.
Yeah, it's a pass to the game master. Usually what happens is the player could be like, okay, I'm going to attack rolls. Well, what I do as a game master, if there was no narration, I will, after the roll, go back and describe the whole thing. And I will even do that at the end of rounds, right? I will try to basically recap everything, I will recap what happened in this whole round in one scene action. But if the player before rolling actually commits to, here's what I'm trying to do, and be careful not to be like, and I hit him. No, you haven't rolled yet. But just up to this moment, then you stop the action, do the little game mechanic thing, and then go back and revisit what you've committed to. I know, like, if you watch Critical Role, Marisha is really good to do this, so you can look at this for examples on how to do this.
And even, I mean, don't be afraid to prepare things, right? Like, if you know the kind of character you're playing, there's no reason you can't have some, like, catchphrases or, like, little like, combat cries or things that you can just quickly pull up. Because, to be honest, it's going to get repetitive otherwise. You're not always going to hold your sword up and scream to your god. You might want to have some variation, but at least as a crutch to get you started, note down a few things. You know, you're charging in, you're nervous about it, you look to an ally, you say something before you swing. I don't know.
And we already have examples like bards when they do when they inspire, they might sing a little song or do something like that. That's cool. I have Ludolf can inspire in my Blood and Betrayal, and sometimes I ask him, okay, what are you saying? So that creates this whole flavor to the attack or to what's happening in the middle of the combat.
And that is all of the 6 tips for this video, and 12 in total. I guess we talked about it, but I never linked it up. So if you like these 6 tips and want to get 6 more on becoming a more engaging player, I'd encourage you to check out the video up here. Otherwise, that's it for this topic. If you wanted to reach out to us, you could do so by contacting us on Twitter. That's at roll_play_chat.
Or we have an email, that's contactroleplaychat@gmail.com.
And as always, we thank you for watching. We encourage you to like the video if you enjoyed it, and to subscribe if you'd like to see more content just like this.
And if we missed something, we would love to hear it in the comments. We'd love to have more comments to engage with you guys. So, yeah.
Awesome. So that's it for today, Chris.
That's all, Matt.
Let's call it a chat.